What are the themes of the project that resonated with you and why? For example, I remember I did a horror film maybe about 2 years ago now. And when people asked me about that, when I was at the premiere of that, I kept talking about thematically why I was drawn to this project. I'm not a fan of horror films. For those of you who know me, you know I am a big baby. I'm not going to sit there and talk about how much I love horror films and how excited it was to be in a horror film. They scare me. But I did this film because I was attracted to what it had to say thematically. Hi there, Jody Bentley here, actor and CEO of Actor Insider and The Actor's Office. And today I want to talk about how to be memorable in conversations with industry folks. Now, maybe you're out at networking events and maybe someone asks you what you've been working on. Or maybe you're a writer and a producer or a production company asks you about your script in a casual environment. Or maybe you're talking to a casting director or a director about a play that you just saw. Now, these can be really compelling conversations, or they can just be plot traps. Now, we've all been in that situation, right? Where you talk to someone about maybe something they're working on, what they're doing, and they just start to tell you the plot of the story. And I gotta say, and disagree with me if you will, but 9 times out of 10, or maybe 9.5, 9.8 times out of 10, can we do that? It's usually boring. It's usually a boring conversation because you know the plot and no one else knows the plot. And very few people are excellent storytellers to be able to tell the story of a plot in a compelling way. So what do? Well, this came up for me with a client in my mastermind group. And she was actually being interviewed about a film project that she was in. And she started to have a panic attack. And she was like, oh my God, what do I say? How do I talk about this in a great way, in a compelling, memorable way? And she shot the project like a while ago. Like sometimes we forget, right? We shoot things a year or two ago and now they're at festivals and now we need to talk about them. And I said to her, don't worry about plot. Don't worry about what happens in the film. Don't worry about any of that. What are the themes of the project that resonated with you and why? For example, I remember I did a horror film maybe about 2 years ago now. And when people asked me about that, when I was at the premiere of that, I kept talking about thematically why I was drawn to this project. I'm not a fan of horror films. For those of you who know me, you know I am a big baby. I'm not going to sit there and talk about how much I love horror films and how excited it was to be in a horror film. They scare me. But I did this film because I was attracted to what it had to say thematically. And I leaned into that. And that's exactly what I told my client to do as well. Talk about why you chose to do this project, the themes of this project, how it moved you, or why it resonates with you. Because we really want to, when we're talking about stuff, tap into the universality of it, make it relatable. Because if you're talking to a producer, a director, a casting director, you don't want it to be you just telling a plot about something. You want to be you sharing your own POV, sharing what you believe in, what you care about, to find a merge with that person, to create a dialogue with that person, to have that be an engaging, memorable conversation, not just you talking about a plot for 10 minutes. And that's typically what can happen. So really start thinking about when you're talking about anything that you've worked on or want to work on, or the stories you want to tell as an artist or write as a writer or direct as a director, what are the themes of the stories that you want to tell? What are those themes? Because we can all relate to that. We can relate to themes. I was just at an event and I met these two people who worked at this big production company in Atlanta. And they were talking about what their company did. I was like, oh, that's amazing. I said, I'm actually an actor. I'm a writer. I just finished my feature film. And they said, oh, what's your feature film about? I didn't go into the log line of the film. I didn't tell them a synopsis or a plot description of the film. Why? Because it's boring and people can't relate to it. They don't know those characters yet. They haven't gotten sucked into that story. I said, oh, it's a film about the time in your life when you parent your parents. And they went, oh my God, that sounds so good. And then everyone else in that conversation was like, oh my God, I relate to that. I'm going through that right now. Someone else said, oh my God, I remember when I went through that. Someone else said, oh God, yeah, I see, I saw my parents go through that with my grandmother. I'm not looking forward to that. But wow, that's something we all have to do. I was like, yeah. And they said, God, I'd really love to read that. I said, okay. And I sent them an email this week asking, that I'm just making a couple tweaks on the script and we'll send it to them. And they said, great, we can't wait to read it. And I didn't tell them the plot of the script. I told them one theme that I knew we could all relate to. So when you're talking, again, about your projects you want to do, projects you haven't even done yet, but that's where you see your career going, talk about things in terms of themes, not plot. Find the merge and relate to your audience. Don't just shove plot down their throats. All right, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'll see you later. Bye.